Hey guys, Scott here. Today I want to talk about the changes to Boil Over and how I think they're just sort of really not the best design, and I want to go over why. So Boil Over is the perk that makes it so when you pick somebody up, they wiggle way more. It's sort of the reverse of Iron Grasp, and it makes it so nearby hooks are not highlighted, so you can't see them through walls. Not always useful, but sometimes it actually will make a killer miss a really obvious hook that was right in front of him, and it can synergize well with things like saboing and stuff like that. So that's what Boil Over does. Now, the buff to it increased the wiggling even more, and it also made it so now whenever you drop from a height, 25% of your wiggle bar is instantly finished. And the drop for our height is like this much. You can drop into the basement stairs of Shack, and you will trigger that. So it's very, very sensitive to where that will actually trigger. I've heard from mods that it's the same height from Balanced Landing, but I found even yesterday streaming that it seems like it's less than that, but maybe it's a placebo. I'll just trust them for now. The problem is this change is pointless. And what I mean is all the change promotes is negative stuff. There's no good reason for this change because in solo queue, it's probably really not going to help you very much. The only time that drop down thing really helps is if you're specifically putting yourself in situations where that's going to be the case. Now, I'm not saying it'll never be useful. I'm just saying if the killer picks you up and they're on an elevated platform and they see you have Boil Over, chances are they're not going to take a drop down. Chances are they're going to find wherever the stairs were. They're gonna take some other path to get to the hook that they're trying to get to. Now, again, that's not always the case. So the perk does have some use, but it's not really enough to justify using it over, any of the other meta perks that are just simply way, way better. So you have the scenario where a perk was designed to really only benefit one group of people, and that's basically just survive with friends like bully squads. That's pretty much it. That's the only group that this perk is actually for. And I finally went against my first one of these yesterday, and as I figured, it wasn't hard to win. It was just boring because I had to just slug people 62 times in a row until they eventually died. And I don't consider the perk strong, but all it does is just incentivize you to just be boring as shit. And it only works if you're doing it with friends that can coordinate with the same perks. You all have Boil Over and Flip Flop and Unbreakable and Exponential and all that stuff. So you need to basically dedicate your build to trolling with this, but it does enable you to do that. You have a map that enables that by you repeatedly just go to a spot where you can't really be hooked without having a drop down or something like that. There's a couple of maps like that. RPD is a big one. This map is actually a big one as well. So you just pick one of these maps, and then you just go up there repeatedly forever, and the killer can't really ever do anything. But the thing is, you can't really do anything either. You're not doing gens when you go up there, get slogged, and pick yourself back up again over and over and over again. So the thing is, no one really wins. You just get bored for 40 minutes because no one, you'll eventually bleed out and die. Like, it's still not hard to win. It's just boring. And so that's my problem with it. Not that Boil Over is too strong. It just promotes basically squads to just mess with the killer for 30 minutes until they eventually do die, which they will because they're not doing gens. They're just fucking with you. But that's the whole point why I think the change doesn't make any sense because that's the only demographic this buff is for. It's very rare that just a random solo queue player is going to actually see immense value from the drop down bonus of Boil Over, unless they repeatedly themselves have a build dedicated towards it and they just spend all match running to a specific area to, be able to do this, which means they're probably not being very efficient on gens, which again means it's not a good perk. It's just annoying. So you'll just have matches where people will just drag it out. And like this match here, I was going to upload it on YouTube, but actually I'm not going to because it's so boring. You can watch it on my Twitch if you want. It's just boring. I just down the same people at the same spot 40 times until they eventually bleed out and die. It's just super boring. So, yeah, it's not good. It's not strong. It's just, it incentivizes incredibly boring gameplay. And I feel like there's just no reason to make that type of change because, I mean, what's the point of that? It doesn't really there's just no reason for it. So that's why I'm upset with the Boil Over change. Again, not because I think it's overpowered or anything, but because it just puts you in scenarios where nobody is having fun. And there's just no reason for that. So not good, but it incentivizes Survive with Friends squads that they're the only people that benefit from it, which makes no sense. Boil Over change sucks. Okay, bye.